Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I am out here in these streets again. And you know what, all right, I have been told I should talk a little bit more about my personal experiences here and something I've been going through lately. And I'm not used to this, so this is a really vulnerable thing for me. So guys, subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my experiences here with the Italian medical system. So subscribe and let's have a little chat. As you guys know, well, maybe you don't know, but healthcare in Italy is actually free. Their socialized healthcare is not bad, but I have been learning lately that there is a huge difference between the public system and the private system. So, you know, I had 2 children here, and my last pregnancy was difficult, mostly in an emotional sense, and I would say the medical system really did not help that. The first issue was really, so, you know, so one of the things that when you have children and you're over 35, you know, they call it a geriatric pregnancy. So both my kids were technically, you know, me advanced age or whatever, having kids. My first pregnancy actually went pretty smoothly, but then my last one, this youngest one, he, I mean, technically we didn't have any issues, but this last one just did not go as smoothly as the first. And I don't know, like we moved, which meant that I had to change doctors. And the first doctor that I finally found, because I didn't really understand how to go about getting a gynecologist, you know, I had some recommendations, but, you know, with the public system, it depends on if they have space for you, if they have too many patients and everything. So the first doctor, and really, I would say that the system is very similar to a HMO kind of system in the US. If you have like health insurance and you have like the difference between like an HMO and a PPO, like it's very much HMO like kind of thing. You have to get doctors' referrals and things like that to get a lot of things done. But anyway, the first doctor that I had was a piece of work. They have this thing here called like a conscious objector. And so a lot of doctors here use this to make sure like you don't get an abortion. Now, I wasn't planning on aborting my child. However, I had this test done and they determined that it was like mid-risk for chromosomal defects. So I decided I wanted to have the amnio test. Now, this doctor told me she would not write me the referral to get the amnio test because it was against her personal belief. So meaning that if I decided I wanted to have an abortion because my child was going to be have some sort of birth defect. So for her, she didn't want to write the referral because it was against her personal belief. And the idea is that if my child had some sort of birth defect, that I chose to have him aborted, that she didn't want to be, I guess, a part of that. And that's part of their conscientious objective thing, which is very much like in the United States and those states that want to control women's bodies. So 70% of doctors here are under this kind of thing. Like 70% of doctors here consider themselves conscious, whatever, objectors in some sort of way. And I happen to find one. So after this happened, I was kind of spiraled. I was like emotional about this because, you know, we wanted our baby, and if there was something wrong, I really needed to know, so we can make proper choices for our life. And after that, she wouldn't write me the referral. I had like such a hard time getting like another doctor and trying to get this done. And I went to a private doctor and was able to do it. So, and obviously he's here, he's fine, but that was just like the beginning of all of the terrible emotional things that like the medical system sent me through here. The second thing was same baby, same pregnancy. We had, I feel like a little emotional thinking about this, but I had the sonogram done, and this was the most insane thing. So I have sonogram done, and they basically send me away. You know, like the way things are here is like you are in charge of all of your stuff. So like you go get your sonogram, it's not going to your doctor. You get the thing, you take it to your doctor, your next appointment. So this doctor told me when she did it, she's like, you know, you have 2 weeks, you have to do this, that, and the other. Long story short, she wrote in the thing that one of the arteries for the baby's heart were not connected. So this was a major deal because that means that the birth would not be viable. And I was closing in on like the last weeks that I could potentially have an abortion because of these like medical related things. So the thing was though, they didn't tell me that. They didn't want to tell me that. And the only reason I found out before the appointment was because I had a trip planned to Paris, and they wanted me to cancel it to do a follow-up on the doctor, on the sonogram. And I was kind of like, well, she told me I had 2 weeks and I got plenty of time, you know, like, so why am I canceling my trip to France? And so, you know, my father-in-law was actually the one who was trying to make the appointments for me, and he didn't want to tell me what they had told him either. So basically actually they told him not to tell me. They actually told him not to tell me what was wrong. And so he didn't know what to do since I had this trip planned, and he was like, oh shit now. Like, and he was just like, why in the world do you not tell me this? And I'm like, well, I didn't think it mattered. Anyway, he told my partner, and then my partner's like, well, yeah, you got to cancel your trip. And he told me. And so like this all was just like such an emotional, like, I don't know what to call it. It was just like such an emotional time. And I just spent so much time crying during this period that I was pregnant, and so sad because there were so many things that were just coming up in the medical system, like some shit in my relationship, and it just was just hard this last pregnancy, and the Italian medical system just didn't help me. So then I have the baby, you know, everything turns out fine in respect to like his health. You know, he's here, he's healthy, he's fine, I'm blessed, and, you know, full of gratitude. So, but right after I have him, I go to the hospital for his checkup. Now, the first birth with my first son was so, like, gentle and sweet. Now, this woman who delivered my last child was like some sort of Nazi gangster who just screamed at me the whole time, and like she was pushing up against my lady bits down there while I was in labor, which I'm pretty sure you shouldn't do, and it potentially I don't know if it added to some of the issues I've had later after my pregnancy, because there have been like a lot of things, and I'm actually on my way to a doctor's appointment now So right after the baby, I ended up having prolapse. And this happened while I was walking in the hospital, luckily, I guess. I'm in the hospital with you taking the baby basically for a checkup. And like, I think like a week after, something like that, a week after they release you, you have to go. So this was within a week of his birth. I'm walking down the hallway, and so this is probably like the most I had walked since his birth. So I'm walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden I feel something falling in my pants. I mean, luckily I still had that big ass diaper on, you know, that you wear after you have birth. You give birth. So anyway, I had prolapse. And since then, I saw the doctor at the hospital right away, who basically was just like, you'll get over it. Give it some time. And, I went to another doctor, another gynecologist, who basically said the same thing. And so then I just waited, and I wasn't sure what else to do. And finally, I started to continue. The prolapse is better, but I started to continue to have like other issues that I was just like, is this all related? So I finally, like, my mother-in-law was just like, go to a private doctor. And she helped me find someone. And now I'm doing therapy for like my vagina. So I'm like on my way to do my vagina therapy. And one of the things that has been really interesting is seeing the difference in care going from like the public system to a private doctor here. And it has made a huge difference. And the truth is, like, I mean, the amount of money you pay in the United States is ridiculous. But, a private doctor here is pretty expensive. Like, the initial visit was like 150 euros. And now every consequential visit is basically 100 euros. And I have to do at least 10 sessions of therapy to start correcting this issue that I've been having. So it's not, when they talk about the healthcare system, it's not all like, flowers and roses and just great healthcare. It really can depend on the doctors you get, and I guess that's everywhere. But I think the fact that it's free, everyone's constantly like, it's free, so you get to have healthcare, but it's not always good for you. And for me, it was so many things, because I also didn't realize or didn't know, are these people treating me differently because I'm a foreigner? Because that is also a thing, and I can't know for sure, because in the States is so, in the U.S., it's so much easier to advocate for yourself, because that race and everything plays a part in whether or not you're going to get treated well. So I thought I'd show you what I'm dealing with in my therapy today. Okay, so this is the thing that they use for my therapy. They actually put this inside of me, and it creates an electronic pulse. It's now underway. If you look at my foot moving, that is from the electrodes that's inside of me, moving it kind of involuntarily. And yeah, the pulsation is kind of strong. No, I am not deriving pleasure from this pulse. So the therapy is about 30 minutes. So there's some other things involved that I can't record, but this is the measurement of the pulsation and the electrodes inside. So that's it. I do this like therapy now for for basically 10 weeks, and then I'll see what happens. And like I said, it's €100 every visit. And the gynecologist that I saw who assigned the therapy to me basically said, like, I shouldn't have waited. I shouldn't have been told to wait. I should have started therapy right away. And not knowing those things, I don't know, maybe it made things a bit worse. So that's kind of what I've been dealing with, and some of the stuff that has been kind of weighing on me emotionally, and I think adding to some of my, I don't know, sadness sometimes, because I feel like my body is not what it used to be. And I guess that's a part of getting older, but I do feel that it was ultimately some things that were neglected in my care. So guys, I'm not really talking about these kind of things. So if you guys are interested in knowing some more of this journey and coming along with me on it, let me know. And yeah, guys, subscribe to my channel. And I guess I'm gonna head home to my family. So ciao for